Hi, my dear students. Welcome to my CBSE world. I am Dr. Charmoinder, your mentor and guide for CBSE 10th board examinations, as well as 9th, 7th, 8th, etc. etc. Okay, anyway, so coming to this, in our second series, CBSE Social Science History Syllabus Mapping. As I told you in our previous video, mapping the syllabus or decoding the syllabus, which plays a very vital role in your examination, exam preparation also. So please focus on mapping of the syllabus, right? Next, going to this, social science, history, India and contemporary world. If you look at the textbook cover page, you will see this title and complete chapter mapping with the headlines. History, what is the big theme? How did modern nations emerged in Europe and other rest of the world, and how the industrial revolution took place, and what is the ideas and culture which spreaded through the print culture. So to the world and we live on today. So which basically the history has 5 chapters which I told you. The first chapter name is the rise of nationalism in Europe, and the second chapter name is nationalism in India, and the third chapter name is the making of a global world. We here will come global world, interconnection, everything. Then fourth chapter name is the age of industrialization, and the fifth chapter name is the print culture and the modern world. So next. So if you look at this chapter 1, the rise of nationalism in Europe, what is the major headline which we can see that how Europe changed from kingdoms to nation state. Earlier Europe has some kingdoms, like 3 major kingdoms: Russian Empire, Austrian-Hungarian Empire and Ottoman Empire. So most of the countries today, what we can see, Germany, Italy, Switzerland, other countries, Slovenia and Romania, Denmark, everything was under the kingdom. There was no independent country like India right now. So how these small countries which were part of the kingdom emerged as a nation state. What do you mean by nation state? Means independent country. Next, if you look at the subheadings, you will see the first subheading is the French Revolution and the idea of nation. So if you go to the European history, okay, if you look at the European history, French Revolution played a very, very important role to get the modern state, the idea of nation state which came from the French Revolution. As we all know that in the 9th class you have the French Revolution chapter in the history. Okay, so we have 3 estates, or the first estate, second estate, third estate. Okay, nobility, clergy and third estate people. So all these things will come. End of monarchy, how Louis XVI was dethroned from his kingship, and citizens and equality. Citizens are fighting for their equal rights, and national symbols, and nationalism begins. Coming to second part, the making of nationalism in Europe. So we are going to look at the Napoleon's reforms, spread of revolutionary ideas and administrative changes. So my dear students, you need to understand this by shadowing technique. What is shadowing technique? Repeat. You have whatever I am saying, you have to repeat it. Then only you will get the command over the what is there inside the chapter. You first know that these are the major headlines. By knowing the major headlines, you will come to know what is the inside the chapter. This headline will tell you something about the chapter. So please focus on this part first. Next, the third one, the age of revolution, 1830 to 1848, where we are going to look at the liberalism, conservatism, revolutionary movements. Next, if you see this, the fourth one, the making of Germany. So I am just reading and making you to understand these headlines only. I am not going to explain, but I will explain in the main chapter where I am going to teach you. Okay, the making of Germany. So Germany was under the it was called, before it was called Prussia. So Prussia has 39 princely states, small kingdom and principalities and other kingdom. So how the Germany became a nation state? So this is which we are going to discuss in our main chapter. So the making of Germany, what is the role of Otto and Bismarck, Prussia's leadership. So I told you now, the Germany is called Prussia also. So Prussia's leadership, whose leadership? Otto and Bismarck leadership. He was the chief minister of Prussian kingdom. Okay, and German unification finally occurred in the 1871 with the 3 wars. So Prussia made a war with Denmark, Prussia made a war with Austria, Prussia made a war with France. So Franco-Prussian war, Franco-Austrian war, etc. etc. And coming to the fifth headline, the making of Italy. So the making of how the Italy has 7 principalities, small kingdom, 2 Sicily state, Lombardy, etc. etc. So how today Italy became a nation state, means a modern state or separate independent country. So what is the role of Mazzini? What is the role of Cavour? What is the role of Garibaldi? And Italian unification. And the sixth one, Britain as a nation. So this is the strange case. So earlier, the making of Germany, making of Italy led with the wars and diplomacy. But whereas in Britain, it's a separate case, which we are going to look at in our main chapter. So if you look at this Britain as a nation, England, Scotland, Wales, United Kingdom. Okay. And seventh one, visualizing the nation. What is nation? How they are visualizing it. Okay. And Mariana and Germania. What is Mariana? What is Germania? So I will tell you. What is that? So in India we have Bharatmata, right? Bharatmata, motherland. Similarly, they have created Mariana, the female figure, in France and Germania in Germany. And national symbol also played an important role. And coming to eighth part, nationalism and the imperialism. Nationalism and imperialism. Here we are going to look at rivalries among nations and beginning of conflicts. Okay. And what is the key question here? How did nationalism unite Europe and create a modern nation state? Very, very important, Anna. First, you need to understand what is nationalism. I told you, nationalism is the we feeling, love towards our own country. So, how this developed? Earlier, most of the countries were under the kingdoms. So, people are living in different parts of the world or different parts of the countries or different parts of the kingdom. So, how they came together and formed their own country? This is called nationalism. So, how did nationalism unite European people and create the modern nation state? This is very, very important. Coming to this second chapter, chapter 2 deals about the nationalism in India. And what is the major headline, Anna? So, how Indians united against the British rule? Because we all know that India was ruled by Britishers for the period of 200 years, right? From 1757, from the Battle of Plassey to till 1947, the date which we got independence. So, almost 200 years, India was ruled by Britishers. So, how the Indian people united? Because you need to understand what is a regional identity and national identity. And what is the role of national movement? What is the role of freedom fighters in this? Bringing all people together and created a nationalism feeling among the people and created a national identity, which we are going to look at here. So, if you look at this nationalism chapter, we have broadly, we have some parts. So, there is the First World War and the India. So, if you look at the textbook, you will come across the first headline, introduction. After introduction, you will see the first headline. Of course, I am going a little bit faster because the video is very lengthy, so I am going a little bit faster to explain these headlines. So, while I explain the chapter, I will go very slowly. Okay, just understand. I am teaching you just headlines. What is there inside the chapter? And with the shadowing technique, whatever I am saying, you have to repeat it once, twice, and thrice, and you will get command over the chapter. And First World War, and if you look at the textbook, First World War, Khilafat movement and non-cooperation movement will come. But here you just remember First World War and India. And what is the economic hardships? How Indian people are faced with the economic burden and recruitment, military recruitment when the World War I is going on, and inflation, how the food prices increased. And coming to second part, the idea of Satyagraha. So, idea of Satyagraha, non-violence, ahimsa. So, okay, and Swaraj, these are the ideals of the Gandhiji, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhiji. So, Gandhi's arrival, when the Gandhi came from South Africa to India, so January 9th, 1915, that January 9th we are celebrating as a Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. Okay, then truth and non-violence. And third component, the Rowlatt Act 1919, the repressive laws and public opposition. Okay, next. So fourth one, Jallianwala Bagh massacre, and what is the role of General Dyer? We all know that Jallianwala Bagh massacre, and which occurred in 13th April. General Dyer, who is the General Dyer, and what is the national outrage? How the people fought against this infamous Atrocities Act. And the fifth one, non-cooperation movement from 1920 to 22. So where we are going to look at boycott of foreign goods, boycott of schools, boycott of colleges, boycott of courts of the British institutions, and Swadeshi movement started. And nation Swadeshi means we have promoted Swadeshi. Swadeshi movement actually started in 1905 actually, when the Vande Mataram movement, when the Bengal division is taking place. But Swadeshi, so we are promoting our own, manufacturing our own goods and services, own clothes and everything, etc. So national awakening, how people got awakened against the British atrocities. And sixth one, civil disobedience movement. So Salt March, Dundee March, and breaking of colonial laws. So this is very, very important. Coming to this, different social groups and nationalism. How different social groups were participated in the freedom struggle or in the national movement in India. So mostly if you look at this India's socio-demographic profile, so you will see the different set of people, right? So mostly peasant, farmers and workers and businesswomen, businessmen and women. These are the people who are greatly affected with these British policies. So okay, and not only the peasants, even tribals also, through the forest laws. And eighth one, limits of nationalism. So these are the people participated in the national movement, but the Dalits and Muslims are different aspirations. So the Dalits have different notions or different connotation with regard to the freedom struggle. So they have different problems, untouchability, social stigma, okay, and outcast groups. So these are the problems of Dalits, and Muslims were segregated due to Hindu domination in the national movement. So most of the Indian National Congress leaders were Hindus. So there was no adequate representation of the Muslims in the Congress party. So they have started their own party in the All India Muslim League in 1906. Okay, and different aspirations. Ninth, sense of collective belonging. How this collective belonging came into India. Okay, and national symbols. What is the role of national symbols? And Vande Mataram song, Jana Gana Mana, and folk tradition, folk culture, folk tradition also plays a very important role in the awakening of the Indian nationalism. More and key question. What is the key question here? If you look at this, how did diverse group? What do you mean by diverse group? Because India is a caste-ridden society and a caste-based society or Varna-based society where different people are existing together, like so-called SC, ST, BC, OC, and men, women, and different religious groups, Muslims, Hindus, Christian, Jains, Buddhism, and atheists, whatever it may be. So how, and women, so how different diverse group came together to fight against the British colonialism. This is very, very important. You might, you may be asked 5 questions. How the diverse social group came together and fought against the British colonialism. Comment on it or discuss on it. You may be getting, or note on the how did diverse group come together to fight British colonialism. Okay, so you may be asked 5 marks questions, so you should have to have a clear-cut understanding about this, all these things. And coming to this next third chapter, the making of a global world. How the world was interconnected. Okay, now we might have seen the globalization and Indian economy, where we are technology, transportation, which is easier and faster movement of goods and services are taking place. But actually the globalization, the making of global world, which started way back in the 13th to 14th, 15th century also, going back also. So what was the history? So if you look at the headline, how the world became how the world became connected, how the world was interconnected. Okay. Next, if you look at the subheadings, the pre-modern world. So today we are living in the modern world. So if you look at the pre-modern world, before modern world, what were the conditions? What were the conditions which led to this? So we have Silk Route. Silk, what is silk? You might have heard the name called silk sarees. Okay, so silk was one of the prominent thing which has huge demand by the Europeans and the rest of the world. So the silk was transported from China through India, from China, India to Europe and Africa. So there was a Silk Route. So I will explain in the main chapter. So what is the Silk Routes and what is the trade network? So what is the business activities taking place through the Silk Route and cultural exchange? And you might be wonder. So today in our daily recipe we are using tomato, potato, and chilies and all these things. Do you know what is the origin of all this? Where from? What is the birthplace of potato, chilies, and tomatoes? It is not India, which came from South America. Okay, so that was the history. I will tell you. So trade networks, cultural exchange, and food travels. New foods came, and migration of crops. Okay, and third, the conquest. How these Europeans conquest America. So actually, America belongs to Red Indians. So it is the European people who migrate to America and North America actually, USA, Canada. So they were settlers actually. Okay, but original America belongs to Red Indians. They were the original tribes there. So how they conquest? What is the role of disease and trade and colonization? Very, very important. From your board examination point of view, you need to understand what is colonialism, colonization, process of colonization, colonialism, anti-colonialism, and imperialism. Everything, and nationalism. What is nation state? What is modern state? You should understand these terminologies and their definition. Okay, And coming to colonization, what is the role of diseases, expansion of empires, British Empire, how they are expanding, Spanish Empire, British Empire, Portuguese Empire. Okay, right. So fourth, the 19th century world. In the 19th century, how the world was there. So look at this industrialization, very very important. The fourth chapter which I told you, chapter 4. This is chapter 3, I think. Next chapter is the age of industrialization. So what is the industrial revolution, industrialization, trade growth, how the trade is growing day by day, and how the migration, people are moving from one part of area to another part of the area, one country to another area. And coming to the Indian economy and globalization, exports. So you all know the exim policy, exports, imports of the foreign goods, exports of Indian goods to the rest of the world, and importing whatever we don't have, so we are importing it. So export, import, and raw materials, and colonial economy, right? And coming to this sixth one, Great Depression, which occurred in 1929, very very important, which is not there in the syllabus, your main examination, but you should understand it's the part of interdisciplinary project. So you need to understand what is the Great Depression in 1929, causes. So what were the causes for which led to the Great Depression? Okay, then impact on the world economy. How the Great Depression led to the, what is its impact on the world economy? So there was no employment. So huge unemployment was there, and food prices are falling down. So there is no great demand for the work and things, etc. So, and impact of, okay. Seventh one, post-World War economic order. So Bretton Woods system. What is Bretton Woods? What is IMF, International Monetary Fund? What is World Bank? What is WTO, World Trade Organization? So everything you come to know under this. IMF, what is the role of IMF, World Bank? And eighth one, contemporary globalization, present day globalization, how it's taking place, how it's happening. So, and international trade, how international trade is taking place, and what is the role of technology, technology and interdependence, because nowadays most of the countries were interconnected. So we are depending on China. China also depending on India. So America depending on China. So in the globalization process, every country is interconnected, and the trade is taking place. The movement of goods, ideas, and culture which are rampantly spreading to rest of the world. So this is called interdependence. What do you know interdependence? And key question: how did trade? Very very important. Trade, migration, technology. How it created a global world? Because you might also, today we are seeing WhatsApp, most of the YouTube channel, okay, Gmail, etc., etc., Instagram, etc., etc. How technology, how the internet played a and movement of goods and services across the global world. This is very very important. So what is the role of trade? What is the role of migration? What is the role of technology? How it has created a interconnected world and finally led to the global world. Coming to the chapter 4, the age of industrialization, which is there for your internal assessment purpose or interdisciplinary purpose. So if you look at this chapter, the age of industrialization, headline, how machines changed the human life. Because what is the role of machines? Earlier, human beings are working in the farms and fields. So most of the activities done with the human labor only. But after the arrival of the machine, how the machine has transformed the working conditions of the people and how it led to the betterment of human life. Okay, right. So if you look at the subheadings, before industrialization, so it is called proto-industrialization. What do you mean by proto-industrialization, dear students? Proto-industrialization, nothing but most of the, now you can see the most of the factories in towns and cities, and of course to some villages also. But earlier days there was no industries, only homemade goods. So most of the good production taking place within the house only, right? Weaving, knitting, everything is taking place within the house. That is called proto-industrialization. Before industrialization, it is called proto-industrialization, means homemade production. Production is taking place in the household level only, house level only. Then what is the role of rural industries and hand labor and steam power? Hand labor means hand means we are making goods with goods or anything with a hand. We are making with hand. Okay, weaving, knitting, and making clothes with taking place with the hand, with the help of hand. And what is the role of steam power? But in 1750s there was a dramatic change which took place in the Europe, especially with reference to the Britain in Manchester city, where the steam power was invented. So this steam power, steam engine, okay, and spinning jenny, everything contributed to the production of the mass-based production, mission-based production took place, right? So industrial revolution. What is the role of industrial revolution? And new inventions are taking place. You might have seen that. If you go back to 300 years or 400 years, there was no small machine also. Okay. But now you can see the aeroplanes, trains, big ships, Titanic ship. You might have wondered, Titanic ships, big ships are taking place. And SpaceX, Elon Musk are sending the rocket to the space and to the Mars. Invention is going on. So how much technology we have invented, human being invented. So this is with new inventions. And coming to factories come up, factory system. What is the factory system? And mechanized production, machine-based production or power-based production or power looms and industrialization in Britain. The fourth one, what is the role of cotton industry and coal and iron? And fifth one, industrialization in India, traditional industries. What are the traditional industries India possessed that particular time? And modern factories, how the traditional industries to India led to the modern factories. And growth of cotton mills, Bombay, Ahmedabad, Rishara, etc. Then, seventh one, workers and industrial life. What was the working condition for the laborers or human beings which are working in the factories? So, working condition, how many hours they are working? Right now we are working today 8 hours, but that time 10 to 12 hours, sometimes 15 hours also. So, and what is the working condition? Labor issues. What are the labor issues which are emerging? The people who are working in factories, which we are going to look at. Markets for goods. So, for goods, there should be a market. So, we are producing goods, right? So, somewhere we have to sell that product. So, what is the place for to sell that product? Market. So, you might have heard the name called vegetable market, right? And mobile market where you can buy the mobiles and all these things, servicing center, mobile market, vegetable market, and mandi, and grain market, etc. So, market for goods, advertising, how they are doing advertising for their products. You might have seen the Samsung, Apple, LG, how they are advertising, branding, how they are branding their produce, and consumer culture, so production, distribution, and consumption taking place. What is the consumer culture? And key question, how did industrialization transform production, labor, and society? Very, very important, Nana. You may be asked a 5 marks question. How did industrialization transform the production, labor, and society? Explain or illustrate. Okay, you should be able to answer these questions. Next, fifth chapter. This is the last chapter. So, the chapter 5 deals about the print culture and the modern world. Print culture and the modern world. What is print? Producing, printing the anything. So, what is print? What is culture? It's a way of life. How we are producing print culture? How it's developed? Where it's developed? China. What is the woodblock techniques? How it went to Japan and South Korea? Diamond Sutra. From there it went to Italy. Okay, through Marco Polo. He's the king of the medieval traveler. From Italy to it went to Britain, etc. Okay, Germany. So where John Gutenberg discovered the printing machine or printing technique. Okay, so everything we are going to discuss. So how printing spread the knowledge. So we are getting knowledge. So we are going to school, right? What purpose you are going? For education purpose. So what is education? Education is nothing but knowledge. Knowledge, and it will give us some skill and it will empower you. Okay. So and early printing books, China. What is the role of China and Japan, Korea? I told you, Diamond Sutra and woodblock technique, etc. And then what is the role of Gutenberg and the printing press, printing revolution, and mass production of the books, Bible production, etc. And reading mania in Europe. People are reading like anything. So it's called reading mania. So, and the growth of literacy. As a result, when you have the plenty of books available in the market, so people are reading. As a result, literacy is increasing. What is literacy? The person who can read and write, and that person is called literate person. So growth of literacy and new readers, new people are emerging. Print and religion. So reformation and religious. And what is the role of Martin Luther King? He called Reformed Protestant. Religious debate within the Christianity, and print and the revolution, spread of political ideas, liberty, equality, fraternity, and public opinion. And sixth one, print comes to India. How the print came to India? Actually, it went to China to Japan, Japan to South Korea, South Korea to Europe, Europe to India. So how it traveled? Spread of political ideas, public opinion. Print comes to India. What is the role of missionary, Christian missionary, and printing presses, right? And religious reform and public debate. So there should be a change in the religious structure. Earlier, India has faced a sati system, child marriages, etc., etc. So there was a major debate about to reform the religion, religious reform and public debate, newspaper. What is the role of newspaper, pamphlets? Eighth one, print and nationalism. So print has created a condition where it's spreading the ideas, knowledge to rest of the world, and where the people are reading the newspaper and getting the ideology of liberty, equality, fraternity, and the ruthless exploitation of the British government in India. So people are getting the knowledge to the newspaper. So print and nationalism, how it spreaded the nationalism rampantly, and freedom movement, national consciousness. And if you look at the key question here, how did print culture influence the education and reform and nationalism? Same, you may be asked a 5 marks question. You might be asked a 5 marks question. How did print culture influence the education? Because we are getting education. How we are getting education? Through the books only, na? How the books are coming through the print only. So print culture played a very important role, and to threading of education, reform and nationalism ideas, etc., etc. So if you look at the quick revision map, so what is the chapter and what is the central theme? Very, very important, just shortcut. So rise of nationalism in Europe. What is the main central theme? Formation of a nation state. What is nation state? Told you, independent country. Okay. And it has its own political boundary and set up government. So this is called nation state, means independent country. Next, second chapter, nationalism in India. What is the main important theme, central theme? Freedom struggle. How we got freedom from the British people, and what was the role of the Indian National Congress and Indian national leaders. And coming to third chapter, making up a global world, globalization and interdependence. How the globalization led, how it took place. What is the labor, migration, technology, everything we have discussed. Globalization and interdependence. Fifth chapter 4, the age of industrialization. What is the major theme? Industrial revolution. How industrial revolution took place. And print culture and the modern world, spread of ideas and knowledge to disseminate the education, and finally led to the modern world. So this is the whole theme of this chapter of mapping of history. So dear student, those who are going to give the board examination, once again I am telling you, follow the shadowing technique. Should get command over the syllabus first, then read the chapter. You will get some knowledge and comprehending it. So I hope I am doing justice to you, and thank you for giving this opportunity. Thank you all the best.